Hey, what's up? It's Jake from Nimbus DevOps, and I'm here to talk to you about a container data type called the default dictionary inside of the collections. So we talked about dictionaries before, and I'm going to go ahead and start out by making an empty dictionary, and then I'm going to define a couple things. So let's say we have age, and that's dictionary.get, whatever age, right? 0, and then we'll add 1. So if the age is not there, you get 0 plus 1, something like that. I forgot to close something, didn't I? No? Yeah, I did. I need this guy. Dictionary age is this. Okay, cool. So now if I do D, I have an age of 1. Okay, so now if I set D equals, let's do this little set here of age 39, and now I have age 39. Now if I set D age to d.get age 0 plus 1, and I keep forgetting to close this, dAge equals d.get age 0 plus 1, then I would get 40 because there actually is 1. So you can see how this will work with a default you see how it works with a regular dictionary. Now let's see how it works with a default dictionary. So if I do from collections import default dict, okay, then I can go, let's make a double dd dictionary equals default dictionary, okay, that's what it stands for, and let's make an integer, okay, and then say dd age, don't forget to close it this time, plus equals 1, which we haven't gone over this. It means take the age and find it and then add 1. It's just a short way of doing it, so I don't have to type as much. And if I did dd, we can see the default dictionary class int age 1, and that is expected. So we just need to instruct the default dictionary that we want an int number to be used if the key is missing. So we'll get 0, which is a default for the int type. But also in this example, we're not actually writing, there's no gain in like the number of lines. So it definitely makes it easier to read, in my opinion, which is very important. You can also use a different technique to instantiate a default dictionary data type, which involves creating a factory object. I'm not going to get into that. If you want, go check out factory objects on your own. You can do that. But this default dictionary type just allows you to avoid checking whether a key is in a dictionary simply by inserting it for you on your first access attempt. So with a default value whose type you pass on creation, in some cases it can be kind of handy and shorten your code a little bit up a little bit. So anyways, that's really all it's for. It's a very small thing but important thing, and hopefully you got something out of that. I'm going to actually, since this is so short, I'm going to go over chain maps because I was going to do that next. So if we go ahead and clear the screen here, we'll go ahead and go over chain maps. So it's useful because it behaves like a normal dictionary, but according to the Python documentation, it says it's provided for quickly linking numbers of mappings so they can be treated as a single unit, which essentially just makes it faster than creating one dictionary and running multiple updates on it. So a chain map is kind of like used to simulate what's called nested scopes and useful when you're making templates. The underlying maps are stored in a list, okay? And then that list, it can be read and accessed and update the maps attribute, which will update all the lists. So a common use is providing defaults, for example. So if I do from collections import ChainMap, then what I can do is I can say I have a default connection here. We'll do some network stuff. I have a host, and that host is the local host. Oops, local host, and I have a port, and that port is 4567. Okay, so I have a host, which is localhost, and I have a port, which is this port. Cool. So if I said connection equals my port 5678. Okay, oops, what did I do wrong here? Connection equals port, because I need a different bracket. Okay, connection equals port 5678. Then what I can do is I can shorten this and say con is going to be the chain map of the connection and the default connection, and this will create a map between the two. Okay, so then I can say con and then provide a list port as an object, a list object, and I'll get 5678. And if I do con host, I can see it gives me localhost. So now you're kind of almost querying, right? Like, what is the host? It's localhost. What is the port? It's 5678. You can see it in here, the default was 4567. So if I go to maps to see what this looks like, I can do con.maps, and we can see that port 5678 map to host localhost on port 4567, which honestly is kind of how container networking works, but we'll not talk about that right now. So let's do con host, and let's define our host. Let's say it's nimbusdevops.com. Hey, that's me. And I probably need a, nope, let's just leave it like that. So my connection host is going to be nimbusdevops.com. Okay, so now if I go to con maps, I can see it's no longer localhost. It's actually here in the connection, but the map back to localhost remains the same. This is why I said it's kind of like how containers work. So let's delete one. I'll show you how to delete that. So you can delete con port like this. And if I were to go to con maps, I can see that that port is gone, and it's now just a host with nimbusdevops.com and then host localhost with the port. And in this case, you can call the con port again, and it'll give you the other port. And if I wanted to take make a dictionary out of connection, it's very easy to merge and convert into a regular dictionary, just like that. So now I have host nimbusdevops.com, port 45678 or 4567. And it does make it a little bit easier. So you can work on a chain map object and configure the first mapping however you want. And then when you need a complete dictionary with all the defaults and the customized items, you can make a chain map to a dictionary constructor, which is what we did. So if you've ever programmed in another language, like Java or C++, you can appreciate just how easy this is to make chain maps. Because it is extremely simple to do this. And if you've never used another language, just take our word for it. So that is it for default dictionaries and chain maps. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And if not, then I'll see you in the next one.